All right, guys, we saved the best agate for last. Come take a look at this. All right, I'm excited. Let's take a look. Oh my God. What's up, guys? It's Alex coming at you from the rock shop inside of my garage, which you can see is a work in progress, but today I'm excited to bring a very special video to you. Today we are going to be cutting open some incredible agates that are all the way from Malawi, which is a small country in Africa. The short backstory on these agates is I got them from a friend that I met on social media. His name is Jonathan. He runs this company called Agate. Agate is based out of Germany, and what Jonathan does is he travels all over the globe and he finds cool agates, and then he sells them, and some of them he cuts open and polishes them and whatnot. He has an amazing collection, and he's totally worth checking out. So I'm going to have his links down in the description of the video. Please go check him out, and if you're interested in getting some of your own agates to cut, I would look into doing that because I think it's very worthwhile. Either way, we have some special stuff to cut today. We are going to be cutting Malawi agates from Africa. These are just incredible specimens, and we're going to be using some special new lapidary equipment to cut those. So without any further ado, let's check them out. So here are the Malawi agate nodules that I've got from Jonathan over at Agate. And here are our new lapidary toys, which I will be getting into at a future video. So short little background, I don't know a lot. Malawi is a small country in Southeastern Africa, I believe. It's really tiny if you look it up on a map, but it has a history for producing some really cool agates. You can see here I've got a couple different sizes, some smaller ones, but also a couple bigger ones. And so I'm really excited to put these under the saw, see what kind of material we get. You can see already I've done a little bit of cutting. I couldn't help myself, but check that out. And these Malawi agates are known for producing some just stunning specimens. I mean, check out the polished one here, just amazing. So I think these are going to turn out really cool, and I'm very excited to cut them on this. This is the Highland Park Lapidary 6-inch trim saw. This is a very cool new piece of equipment to me that was generously contributed to the channel by Highland Park. And I gotta say, I don't have a lot of experience with saws, but this thing is a workhorse. It's got a huge motor for the size of the blade. There's a belt that runs from the motor to the arbor, which spins the blade. Inside here, we actually have a tank that's full of mineral oil that cools the blade, so you don't have to have it hooked up to a water source, which means I can run this thing in my garage all winter long without having to go out into the frigid temperatures. It has absolutely been a game changer for me. And the big saw, which you'll see eventually, has also been just amazing. So we are gonna get into some cutting here. I'm very excited to show this off to you guys, and let's get to work. All right, so quick little update. I'm about maybe halfway through cutting the Malawi agates. We had Mrs. Agate Angler join in for part of the time. And you can see here, I've kind of divided them up into two piles. We have the absolute stunners, and then we've got duds. So it's kind of interesting because the duds, I mean, obviously they're still beautiful, but they have these sort of like empty quartz pockets, and there's maybe a little bit of agate banding around the outside, but the you know, the fortifications, all that stuff that makes the Malawi agates so amazing are just not there. Now, versus something like this. Wow. Or something like that. Jeez Louise. Where, you know, those fortifications are in there. And that's what these Malawi agates are known for. So that's pretty amazing. Anyways, we still have some more cutting to do, and I've saved the best one for last. So, or at least what I think is gonna be the best one. This is so fun though. And then I think once we're all done cutting, we're gonna sit down, get them all cleaned up, and then we'll kind of take a close look at all of them together. All right, so here's what we got left. This is gonna be the grand finale, and you can see why. So let's cut some more. Maybe starting with this little guy. Check this one out. What? That's insane. I think this will be an interesting one to cut. You can see the chalcedony there, so we're just gonna make a cut kind of across that face. See what we got inside there. Check it out. Oh, that's really pretty. All right, let's cut this little guy. What? Oh, oopsies. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Look at that. That is beautiful. All right, another little nodule to cut. Let's put it on the saw. Is it a stud or is it a dud? Oh, it's definitely a stud. Here, let's rinse it off real quick. Check that out. That is incredible. All right, guys, we saved the best agate for last. Come take a look at this. So this is a pretty big nodule. You can see that there's some banding right there, but what really caught my eye was this banding right here. So we are just gonna cut it right down there and hopefully reveal some beautiful bands. Let's do it. All right, I'm excited. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh. Come look at this. Check out this beautiful Malawi agate. Oh my gosh, the banding on this thing is just absolutely insane. And look at that quartz pocket right in the middle. This is definitely the showcase piece. It's pretty late, so what I'm thinking is tomorrow I'm gonna get them all cleaned up. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna take a close look at each one of them, talk a little bit about the process of cutting, what it was like, the saw, and we'll kind of go from there. But I gotta say, just a quick word, this thing, if you couldn't tell from the video, this Highland Park saw was an absolute champ. Just a total beast. I mean, it did a fantastic job working through, I mean, not a small amount of agates. So awesome saw. Definitely on the more expensive end of the spectrum, but you definitely get what you pay for. All right, I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll see you tomorrow to take a look at these agates. Alrighty, so I got them all kind of set up here for us. I got the stunners on this side and kind of the duds back here. I hate to say duds because some of them are still cool in their own way, but not as unique with banding and stuff like that. So let's take a look at the duds first. I'm just gonna put the camera down here and we'll go ahead and grab a couple here. So this was kind of the classic finding inside of some of the duds. Just a lot of them had this sort of very vague white band around the outside with some clearish chalcedony or agate in the middle. Again, still pretty, but definitely nothing compared to the big, beautiful bands that we see on some of those bigger agates. Here's an example of one. Like you can see, it's got those bands, and so it is, I mean, it is really pretty, but the bands just don't really penetrate deeper into the agate for whatever reason. So, one thing I was noticing, and I don't know if this was just kind of my observation or if this is actually true, but as I was cutting through the ones that ended up being more in the dud category, the saw worked through them a lot faster. And so I don't know if that's indicative of a different type of material in there, but I did think that was kind of interesting. Look at that, it's got some little bubbles around the top there. That's pretty cool. This one was cool. Had like a little central cavity in there with some banding around that. And then, you know, there were a couple that kind of fit into almost moss agate category. You can see there, this has got a little fortification, or not a fortification, some little mossy type stuff on the inside. And there was another really good example of that right here, where you can see one little area of fortification, but the rest of it's kind of got more mossy inclusions in it, which, I don't know, still really cool. So that kind of sums it up for the dud category. Let's take a look now at some of these just beautiful, stunning Malawi agates. I mean, you can see right here why these are so sought after. So again, here's that one that I polished. This still might be one of my favorites, and I'm definitely planning to polish some of these others. Look at that thing. I mean, is that not just amazing? So let's start here. This one was a fun one to cut. It's got some really cool banding around it, some interesting patterns on the inside, almost in the dud category, but on the other side here, you can see a little fortification and some red color. So I thought that one was pretty cool. And I did try to kind of pair these up as teams so we could take a close look at them. It's just a teeny tiny one here, but some really cool quartz pocket in the middle there. You can see it kind of sparkling, and some interesting fortifications there too. Same thing there. Very nice. Here's one that I initially thought was going to be a dud, but taking a closer look at it, I mean, look at the colors of the bands. Red and white and blue. Nice little Malawi agate there. How about this one? Look at those bands. Oh my gosh. And these really pop when you get them wet. I think it's worth noting that. I mean, just look at that thing. That is just beautiful. Let's take another look here. This was one that I cut early off camera. And look at everything going on in there. This one has obviously the fortifications, but also some really cool moss kind of up above and surrounding the fortification. I thought that one was really, really pretty. This was a big hit. Obviously you cut into that and you see, the only bummer was that the fortifications are kind of cut off, so the agate was clearly fractured partway through, but still just stunning. Oh, here's a cut. I thought this was a really fun little nodule. Just teeny tiny. I mean, you could see it's barely bigger than the tip of my thumb, but look at that little fortification on the inside, that kind of like fading yellow or orange. I think that's really cool. Here we go. And we're working into some of the really good ones here now. This one I cut also off camera. Just look at that thing. It's like a little piece of candy almost. There's the top cap. This one's definitely gonna get polished. I like this one because of that vivid orange and yellow fortification. I mean, you can see some of the mossy inclusions there, but look at that. And you can see the fortification kind of stretches on and backwards. I mean, if I had cut it a little bit further down, it's very possible that the fortification would be even bigger. Super cool. Let's take a look. Now I think this is a cool one because of the color. I didn't get a lot of blues, but this one has, I'd say, a pretty dominant blue background color to it. And again, the banding, the fortification in there is just so pretty. The way it kind of just like stretches on into the agate, almost like it's going on to eternity. And you can kind of see some subtle fortifications around the outside too. Again, definitely one that's going to be getting polished. Here's the other side of that. Very cool. Okay, some of the big hitters now. Let's take a look. And we're almost done. Look at that. Look at the colors in that agate. Man, is that thing incredible or what? That is just stunning. So cool. And you can see too, there is banding very subtly even inside of that, what looks like just kind of like a consistent orange color. There's actually fortifications in there. Super cool. All right, these last four are probably the best four. I really like the banding on that one. Here's the other half. Just the distinct separation between the bands, and that quartz pocket in the middle is just, I don't know, it just really adds a cool texture to it. So I think that's a very unique agate. Again, definitely going to polish. Here we go. I'm going to take a look at this one here. This one, kind of unique as well because it doesn't really have the same colorful banding that a lot of the Malawi agates had. It's more of kind of almost like something you'd find on the Yellowstone in terms of the color of the fortifications, but still super duper cool. Also going to be polished. Okay, which one? All right, let's do this guy. I want to say these last two, kind of the both stars of the show. Here was that really big one. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just like, are you serious? This agate, I mean, I don't even know where to start. It just speaks for itself. Here's the other half. You don't need me to talk about this. It really does just speak for itself. Beautiful, beautiful agate. Definitely going to polish that one. And then I'd say last, but certainly not least, was this one. The funny thing about this one is that as I was cutting it open, I said to myself, I think this one's gonna be a dud. And then I opened it and I was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't have been more wrong. But the color is what really pops in this one for me. Just really, really grabs you. And I mean, how could it not? Look at that thing. So amazing. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I mean, this was really fun. I mean, actually a really special treat from Jonathan to be able to cut and work on these agates. And I'm definitely looking forward to polishing them. Hopefully I can put out a little video doing that. But big thanks to Jonathan over at Agate Bay. If you haven't, please check out the link to his site down in the description. And if you're interested in getting some agates, whether polished or raw, maybe to work on for yourself, definitely look into that because he's very easy to work with and a great guy. And also a huge shout out to Highland Park Lapidary for supplying some awesome lapidary stuff for us to work with here on the channel. So far I've had nothing but positive experiences with the equipment. Again, it's fairly new, but I will be doing lots more with their equipment in the future. So definitely check them out, especially if you're in the market for a little trim saw. This guy just got stuff done. Amazing little piece of equipment. And last but not least, before we call it a day, I just want to give you a little preview of our next lapidary project. This is also from Jonathan. And you can see this is a Mozambique agate. So my plan is to use our 12-inch slab saw to slab the face here. We'll polish it up using our high-tech diamond slant cabber and see what kind of quality piece we can come away with. So that's the next thing coming up, and definitely more exciting lapidary projects to come. We are getting close to spring, so of course rock hunting out on the river is going to be coming back here soon too. Anyways, I hope you guys are all doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time.